starting time for this meeting, but you will, however, find all the presentations in an email a few days after this event. So you will find everything there. I would like to thank Ivona again and Nabil and the whole Agnostic Agile team for partnering up and collaborating with us on this event. And thanks again, Ivona, for a wonderful presentation.
Thank you very much.
And it's been a pleasure. I will now move on to the next speaker as we're slightly running out of time. Our next speaker is Paolo. Paolo, can you hear us?
I do. Hi.
Hello, Paolo.
Hi. I see my virtual screen having some trouble. So let me fix it right now. So it was supposed to work. It was working before. All right, now it's working. So you can see the city where I'm calling from. This is Siena, middle of Tuscany, and I'm gonna share my screen so that I can show you my last implementation of Scrum applied to a lean company. So we are still talking about mixing and making Agile and Scrum to work together. Couple of words about me. I'm a Scrum trainer. I work with Jeff Satra, the co-inventor of Scrum, and also I'm a Scrum Scale trainer. But I'm mostly known to be the author of the book Scrum for Hardware. Scrum for Hardware is the first publication in the world about how to apply Scrum in industrial projects. So for me, hardware means to be something that might contain software, but contains also electronics, mechanical part, and plastics, engines, and so on. So, okay, this is where I publish my book. It's an Agile publication, so if you buy it on Limpub, you will receive upgrades where I release new content. At this moment, I'm publishing this case study. I'm gonna show you right now. This is the third one in a row. So this presentation has been originally made at Agile Business Day 1 month, a few days ago. And with me, there was Andrea Provaglio. So it's a dear friend and a very, very good colleague. And together we are working in a company called Pietro Fiorentini, that it's an oil and gas company. It's an Italian company with presence all around the world. And together with us, there was a product owner for the company, Andrea Ganetti, that presented and also testified what we are really doing there. So this is the company. It's an international company and very old company, 80 years of history, and 1,700 employees worldwide, and you can read by yourself, right? So everything about this company. This is probably it's the best implementation of lean production I haven't seen in my life. And before Corona, I used to travel a lot. I can tell you, they are really serious about lean. They've been doing this for 20 years. And they have a lean implemented in the entire organization. They have the Kaizen week, the practice of having an entire week forming a team and doing Kaizen projects, meaning only improvement projects. They are doing with 15 teams every month with a Japanese sensei flying from Japan. So this is more than 3,000 man hours every month only for Kaizen improvement. That's the most rigorous implementation of lean I have ever seen and I know, at least here in Europe. So they use the 5S everywhere, even in the offices. And in the new product development, they use a lean 3P, that is a particular method within the lean family for new products. So why a so lean company, a so successful company, wants to implement also Agile. They say that with Lean, we achieved efficiency, but what we want to do now, it's using Agile to improve effectiveness. That's how they see the two sides of the same medal. So with Andrea, we started launching team around the company, the multiple sites. So we are, at the moment we are working in Italy, close to Milan, close to Vicenza, that is the headquarters as well, and in Desenzano del Garda, where it is another plant. And we launched project. We launched a Scrum team for specific projects and also for products. So these two teams, they are meant to be stable teams, so they are becoming part of the organization. One is an IT project, so a software project, nothing really naive. And the second one, the one I'm gonna show you, it's a Scrum for Hard implementation, because it's a product line product that is being developed with a Scrum team, and now the team is stable, so it's gonna develop also the other new products. So what is this product about? So you see the product in the picture. Well, this is not the product that the team is gonna build. The product that the team built with Scrum was the production line for this product. So there was another team developing the product. This is a gas pressure regulator. So basically the gas, it's a high pressure until it enters in the houses, but you couldn't use the gas with that pressure. So there is a pressure reduction in order to be usable in a house. So this is in the houses. So basically this is the product, and we wanted to build the production line for this. So how you start a new Scrum project? I used the Liftoff Approach. This is the book by Diana Larsen and Ashley Nees, that basically explain that you can have like a short event. In our case, it was 2 days, where you discuss about purpose, alignment, and context. So purpose and why we are building this product and what is the success criteria. Alignment is building this new team and this alliance with stakeholders and the sponsor in order to achieve the purpose. And in terms of Scrum, what do? You define the team, you define the working agreements, the definition ready, definition of done, all this kind of stuff. And the last part of the Liftoff model, it's context. So in context, you do the preparation of the backlog at the end, so that you can start iterating with Scrum. So these pictures are about the purpose. We explore the purpose using something that it's a variation of Roman Pichler work. I call this basic canvas. You can download this free from my website. It's Creative Commons, of course. And so basically we were asking ourselves, who is this product for? So for who this product is, and for who is not. So who are our customers, who are not? And what are the needs and desires of these customers and users? So who we want to delight, and the most important, what are their desires? Too many times I see people focusing on customer problems. So you don't want to buy a product only for problems. You want to buy something to improve your life. So it's very important to discuss also about the desires and what are the obstacles today for them to reach these needs and desires. So that's basically the definition of value. If you have somebody that wants or needs something, but it's not easy for them to reach this something, now there is a business opportunity to creating a product that solves this problem or makes this desire to be true, so that they will be willing to exchange something valuable for us in exchange of our product, that it will be valuable for them. So what is the solution about? What is today's alternatives? And what is the business expectation? What is the sponsor expecting from this initiative? And what are the risks? And so basically we created these in 4 different tables, creating a lot of post-it. Then we merged in the picture you see on the left that it's a big wall. And then we condensed this in a single canvas so that the team could have a clear idea of what we want to build and why more. So we launched the team. So it was a new team formed specifically for this new product that then became part of the organization. And so the existing Kaizen promotion officer team leader, Andrea, that was on the stage when I first presented this case study, served as a Scrum Master. And that's the picture when we started the theme. So if you come from software and you ask yourself, how looks like a room of a team building the production line for a gas regulator? Well, that's the answer. So they had a very big space inside the plant, so very close to the production line, to the existing production lines. And in this place, they could discuss new ideas and create something, discussing how to create this production line, creating some prototypes, build it, and test it in the same place, all together as a team. So as I said, they use something called the Lean 3 Ps as a method for developing software. And so in the beginning, I had to read this stuff and learn from them what was the actual way of working. And I found out in a book they provide me, that it's the link there, and something that I will read. Some Lean 3P should be inserted early in the product development process. Will be used to align all of the many vertical functions in our horizontal value stream to optimize the new product concurrently with the operation that will produce it. So I said, okay, I got it. Lean 3P, it's an incremental iterative approach designed to be applied in an organization that it's not mapping this value stream within a single part, but it's a matrix organization. So the Lean 3P is trying to make a siloed organization, so think cross silos. But in Scrum, we have a cross-functional team. So we have a representative from every silos we need within the team. So that's perfect because, well, we can keep doing the Lean 3P within the theme and see what happens. I think everything will be very compatible at this point. And so I asked them, if I wasn't here, what would you do? How would you start to design this product? And they said, well, we start with a diagram called the Fishbone, where we start thinking how to assemble this product, how to build it. Because we start thinking how the pieces, how they be combined to build the product. And so this gives us all the stages of the production line. I said, cool. You know, when you do this in software, we call it a user story mapping. We design the user journey, and then we create the stories about how this user will interact with other products. So for us, the user will be the worker that want to build one of these regulators. And so this Fishbone is representing the user journey. Awesome. So let's keep using what you already know. Let's start telling all the stories about this worker wanting to assemble this regulator. And then they started saying something like, this is an X10, X50, X2050. And I say, what is that? Well, in Lean 3P, in order to iterate with hardware, we have something that it's first a quick and dirty prototype with cardboard. We call this X10 because it's reducing 10 times risk if you just draw it on a piece of paper. So we build this prototype in cardboard so that when we build all of them, we have an idea of the size and the flow of the work very, very fast. They say, cool, let's do this. All right, you know, defining the accuracy of what we want to build in Scrum, we call it acceptance criteria. So basically, for every story, for every time I don't know, the story would be the operator wants to insert the valve in the regulator and then maybe tying it up, we can say we can do this story first at the extent, as you're saying, and then we can do it again as X15 means that we use wood with something that might even works there. And then the 250, so every time we are reducing 5 times more risk, the 250 will be aluminum, and then we're gonna build a prototype that might even work, but it will not have the safety measurement like the final product. So only specialized and trained people can use the prototype. And the 250 instead, it could be used only by people within the team that build it. And so basically how they were already iterating. So that's the first time in my life I taught Scrum to somebody that was already iterating by himself. Normally I teach Scrum to people thinking in waterfall, but they were iterating already. So they found out Scrum very useful because it just gives the stability of the team and also a very nice shape of meetings where to socialize the feedback that they were socializing before in ad hoc meetings and unstructured slicing of time. And so we started with the Scrum Board. This is not the basic Scrum Board, so it contains some Scrum Patterns. They are described in my book. So we have the interruption buffer that it's an add-on to Scrum to managing interruption during the sprint. We have the Scrum in the Scrum. So basically our improvement became a story and goes back on the sprint backlog. So we use Scrum also to improve Scrum. And yesterday so we based our planning on the past performances and the swarming. So they start working on one single story. They started, they finish it, and then move to the next one. So this is the implementation in Scrum of the concept of the one-piece flow that was very familiar for them. So I didn't even explain too much of these things in detail because they were using this already. So this is mostly for somebody else that knows more Scrum than Lean that want to try to do the same thing. And as I said, I love these guys because they hate to wait. So when they don't have the piece to actually build the production line, they make 3D printing. So they try in every way to short the feedback loop. And they developed the product basically while we were developing the production line. So the two phases were overlapping. So sometimes we got some news, something like, well, look, the product is gonna change in this part. You need to adapt and change your part as well. So we used a lot of what we call in software design pattern. For example, here you see the basement for this part. It's easily replaceable, so that if you want to change a little bit the shape of this product, you just redefine the basement. So this is basically an adapter. In software, we could call this adapter. So it's a design pattern. Reviews. The sprint reviews are very noisy because we are into a production plant. So we use the mic and the speakers. And we have the team presenting the product and stakeholder to try it. So basically it's the more engaging, the more interactive review I've seen so far, because it's I even try myself to build one of these using the partially built line. And there is a lot of exchange of ideas, how to make this more comfortable for workers to build the product. So there is a lot of discussion of also about safety, ergonomy, and also simplify the process, so the onboarding of new workers will be easier, and so on. And so we iterate a lot. We iterate with hardware. And so when I see software people, they don't want to iterate. When they are just working with ideas, electrons, things that you can change with just time. It's very cheap to change things in software. And when I see software people not wanting to change a product they developed, I'm really sad, because these guys are iterating with atoms. They are throwing some material away to learn and build better products. So I hope this will inspire also software people. So conclusions. So I spared some time. I spoke really fast, but I hope I saved some time for some question and answer. What they say they liked more about this implementation. So first of all, the industrial tradition it's about separating the skills and making like a separation of duties, so that it's easy to get people replaced, right? So the production line, it comes from first and second industrial revolution. It's basically separating the know-how. With Scrum, they say we love it because it's a way to get back a view of the entire product, so we have a much more sharing of know-how between the people, and also we are regaining back from the industrial revolution the leadership model. So there is no more management and works anymore, because that comes from the industrial revolution, the Tayloristic approach about separating the people that thinks and from the people that they actually work. So the people who think they have been called the management, the people who work have been called workers. Now with Scrum, you have a distributed leadership. So all the workers are called to be leader of themselves. This is really compatible with the lean approach, because in lean, everybody is entitled to challenge the status quo, to find the Kaizen, the improvement. But normally they are not discussing about the planning of the work, right? So that for them, they see a step forward in distributing leadership even more. And with this way, they can keep the good practices about lean for efficiency, and having the ability with Scrum to change the plan quickly and often with a low cost, because you have a stable team, you have a product backlog, you can understand what is valuable by providing something usable very often and collecting valuable feedbacks. And what they say also in traditional project management, using lean with traditional project management, if you want to change direction, is very costly. With Scrum, it's very, very, very easy. You go, you talk with the product owner, one refinement maybe, and then the next sprint, they can like change the direction. And yeah, at the sprint review, gave to Lean 3P a structured and cheap way to collect the right people, gather the feedback, and then implement this feedback in a new plan. So they also see these like a step forward of these things that were already used to do, but in a less disciplined way. So they see the Scrum flow as a disciplined way of implementing what they already loved about the Lean 3P. And of course, you have to involve people, explain what that you are changing stuff, otherwise they will keep behaving like the previous way. So doing some kind of awareness session with the stakeholders before starting is very useful. And also, when you compose a team, then they start creating some kind of relationship. So you cannot go and pull out people like before. And so it's very important, if you want to create a team, you have to consider that then they might want to become a stable team. And so management, sometimes they don't take this into consideration, so that that's something we need to consider. And also, of course, management, it's key. And so management commitment, it's really key if you want to have the team working focused on their part without being distracted and moved in different parts of the organization. So, do we have questions?
Yes, we do, Paolo. We do have questions. I'll read them out as clearly as possible. Maru1 asks if you've ever been confronted with metric wars and management by numbers trying to rationalize roles out, such as Scrum Masters and coaches. In a Lean Six Sigma org, I have experienced this risk. How did you deal with it?
So, first of all, we don't have a Six Sigma there. We have the real Toyota production system from the Japanese tradition. You know, Six Sigma is being applied on top of Lean. It's not a founding method. So we have a lot of conversation and discussion about measurement of the performance, because with Scrum you have you care about team performance, not individual performance anymore. So we had, and we've been having, because we are still working there, the conversation on how to evolve KPIs for something that might be more useful in a team formation, and also the people should be assessed with not the amount of work you do, the efficiency, but also the effectiveness. So maybe something like the OKR, objective key result, can be something that match more with cognitive work rather than just measuring the amount of pieces you produce, right? So doing the right piece sometimes pays a lot, way much more than doing a lot of stuff. And so, yes, from the metrics, there is a big shift. And it's a journey. I mean, they have to find the one. As I said, as I heard a lot of already in this meetup, there is no one size fits all, right? So the thing is, I'm a storyteller. I show people alternatives to do the same stuff, and they have to pick up something, trying. And when you see if this work or not, you actually realize that is the best practice for you. But you cannot start in this kind of things from a pre-made set of best practices. So yes.
Okay.
Something else?
Yeah, there's another two questions. Did you also use retrospectives? Seems that they used a mix of existing approach and Scrum. So were they also looking at changing some of their existing processes?
So the team was a normal Scrum team, so we had everything. So we didn't even, well, maybe because I work with Jeff, so I know some kind of nuances, and so I never felt the need to change anything in Scrum. So we have the 3 roles, the 5 events, and of course we have retrospectives and the 3 artifacts. So it's a normal Scrum. We have something on top, the patterns. So what the topic now is we do a Kaizen week every month, and so how can we combine this with Scrum? And basically, Scrum, it's every week it's a Kaizen, because you inspect, adapt on a daily basis. And the thing is that sometimes you want to stop some people and focusing them on improving something. You know, when you want to improve in software, a retrospective might be enough. If you want to improve something on a factory plant, maybe you have to move a machinery that it's several tons. So it's something that maybe you want to have a dedicated team for a week to think, how can we improve the flow? Well, maybe we can do that, some kind of experimentation. Then by the week, they do the changes. I heard from them stories like during this Kaizen week, they removed the words. They stopped a line, moved it completely, remade the floor to make it at the same level of the next building, and remove it back the the factory line, so that they didn't have a sort of a kind of step, and to move in the pieces from one line to another was on the same level. So I think they are still in experimenting, and of course the company is quite big, so they are not fully Scrum. They have a couple of experiments around, but I think they will find a way to keep the Kaizen weeks and keep the retrospective, and because they have, I see they have both good effects in the way they are working.
Perfect. And then there's another question. Which tools and frameworks from Lean, other than the Ishikawas you showed earlier, did you embed into your implementation of Agile?
So everything that is from that book called the Lean 3P, and also the Toyota production system. So the 5S, they do it a lot. And you know, the thing is, I don't really know, because they know by themselves. So I haven't found anything that was really in terms of practices that was not matching with the Scrum approach, and so they just kept doing what they do. And the thing is, the cadence, the sprint. So for them, the difference is the roles, because in Lean they have one leader, and instead here they have the product owner, the Scrum Master. So it's a dual leadership. The pool of the work, because in Lean they do something called the visual in the morning, and your leader tells you, we have to do this, and people it's basically get the task assigned every morning, and instead they were pulling items, so this was new for them, but basically it's a board, it's a visual, so it's very similar, just was the pull instead of push. What else? The roles, and the biggest change was no boss can come here and steal a person from the team. Because if the boss needs something, that manager needs something, they have to move work. So the big changes from them, it's in Agile organization, you don't move people, you move the work to the teams. And so that's really the big changes. I don't see any other practice that it's really worth mentioning. I mean, just the standard one, so the 5S mostly.
Okay, thank you. And then there's one final question. What patterns are you mentioning you set up on top of Scrum?
Oh, so it's the Scrum Patterns. There is a new book that came out last year, 2019. It's called A Scrum Book. It's Jeff Sutton and James Coplin. And so there is a big community. If you Google Scrum PLOP, Pattern Language of Performance, you will find a website where there is this organizational pattern applied to Scrum. So in my book, there is a short explanation of the patterns I use normally in hardware, but the book contains actually 94 patterns. And so basically that's a way to understand better Scrum, because every single thing in Scrum is described as a pattern. And so it's also a way to understanding how it's like building it's like buying a new furniture. That's the Scrum guide. Or maybe you go on IKEA, you have the assembly instruction, you can build it by yourself. That's the pattern. And then you have additional things, so you can build something on top of that. So if you're looking for James Coplin and Sutherland, A Scrum Book on Google, it's a yellow cover. You will find more about it.
Thank you so much, Paolo, for your presentation, for answering all these questions, and for sharing your knowledge. It was a pleasure, and I hope to see you again